Hey everybody, it's On Screen Off Screen with Josh Conlon and myself. We talk about the stuff that we watch this week and how our lives affect what we watch and what we watch affects our lives. Let's see, who has the most topics this episode? Looks like Conlon. How about you start?
Okay. I'm going to start with the bottom topic, actually, because I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I was talking to Josh about it because I was like, Dan to Dan is so popular, and I've got a boss who loves anime. And I hope that he never sees this because I'm going to. I don't get this anime. I think it's creepy. There's usually like one character that's creepy in an anime where he's like constantly ogling boobs or whatever, and he's just kind of a stupid character. This one is like it was made by perverts because the whole first episode is like aliens show up and it's weird as hell, and this girl who's like 15, maybe 16, I don't know, gets stripped to her underwear and they animate and like go up her entire body slowly, and it's weird as hell. Like it's weird, it's gross, it's perverted. I don't like it. And then there's like ghosts and aliens that want to steal this guy's banana, and they're just like, I want your banana. And this guy's 15 years old, and I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't get how this is so popular.
And
It
by banana,
genuinely,
you mean genitalia, right?
yes,
Okay.
100%. That is what
Because
all
I
of these
was like,
creatures want.
why is.
And they steal his banana, and the girl's like, "Is it just smooth down there? What's going on?" And I don't get it. And I feel like to like this, I feel like you got to be perverted. If I feel like is somebody in the comments, if you like this, please explain to me because I don't get it. This is the weirdest anime I've ever seen. I feel like this is made by freaks. I don't know if the manga is different and it's not as like horny or whatever. It's just bad. This is a bad anime. I don't like it. People are like the art's so good or whatever. I watched 3 episodes. I was like, okay, maybe it gets different. In the third episode, grandma comes in, who's the grandma of the 15-year-old, and she's like wearing a robe that basically just covers her nipples. And I'm like, what are we doing? Why are we watching this? Why is anyone watching this? The story wasn't that interesting. It was bizarre. The alien ghost thing made no sense. They just popped out of freaking nowhere. Don't like it. Don't recommend it. Weird, 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 weird.
Yeah. I was like recommended to me on, I think it was like Netflix or whatever it was on, and I was like, oh, okay. Start watching it. I was like, why? This is like nothing like I watched on Netflix. Why did it say I wanted to watch this? So yeah, yeah. First episode was wild. I didn't go past. I was like, yeah, because
I
like,
usually
sorry, go ahead.
I usually give shows like 3 episodes to really try them out. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, like, normally in anime, you have like a weird something happen once or whatever. Like, I swear there's always has to be like a scene where the girls are in the bathhouse or whatever, and I'm like, okay. And there's steams like covers things, but like this was like you said, like everyone was perverted, and it's just like, um, okay. But yeah, I don't understand why people like this show. Unless they're kinky, I guess, but you shouldn't be because they're 15. So, preferred it.
Yeah, like genuinely to the point where I'm like, should this show be just taken off the air? Like it was that much of a. This is like off-putting and kind of gross.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't understand it.
So
What were you gonna say, Josh?
I just want to jump in because I think we're using some improper language with this. We use perverted and kinky. I don't think they're sexualizing it. Like it is a sex organ that is the main focus point, and they do sexualize the girl, right? Like any
Mm-hmm.
anime does all of the time. But it's not like kinky or perverted in that way. It is what you just said. It is disturbing. It is uncomfortable. I just, when I watched the handful of episodes I watched, I wasn't like, oh, this is a hypersexualized show.
Except they were trying to impregnate her.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
I would call
And
that kinky and perverted.
literally, Lauren, I'm assuming this is an assumption, but I'm assuming it takes a lot of times to animate, and like you're animating and taking very close attention to every scene. So when they literally like focus in on her boobs when she's 15, I don't think that that's like a simple thing to do. You have to be pretty intentional with that, right?
Depends. If it's just like they did a picture and they just moved the camera of it on the
Okay.
picture, then it's pretty simple and quick to do. But yeah, I've had that thought before, like when I watch anime, that I'm like, somebody had to animate that. I'm just like, I don't think you could pay me enough.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
Like, I'm for sure not defending the show. I'm just saying, like, I think we should call it uncomfortable, disgusting, disturbing, gross, all of those things. I just don't think it was a sexualized show.
Okay.
I stand by what I said.
Fair.
Yeah. Anyway, but it's not a super big topic. I really don't recommend this show. I'm gonna give it an actual 0 because I just found it extremely distasteful. Um, do you want me to go to my next topic?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. My next one, I'm going to do Apex. Before I give my rating, Josh, you said I could go either way on this. What way do you think I went?
I think you didn't like it. Uh,
Okay.
Simply because, like, it is an imperfect movie, and I think when
Mhm.
I said this was Taron Egerton's best performance, or possibly, I think that might have skewed your expectations in a positive light, and when the things that are the problem with this movie happen, I think that turns you off a lot.
Okay. Okay. I actually did really like this movie. Quite a bit. I do think Blackbird is a better performance if I had to give that. But I think this is number 2. The performance is incredible. And it takes a movie that should have been and could have been pretty mediocre, like that was a decent watch, to an extremely fun watch because Charlize Theron and Taron Egerton absolutely smash it out of the park. They take a kind of like there's a crazy guy in the woods and he's hunting the girl, pretty generic story, to a different level because they act it so well. They take a script that is honestly a pretty generic script and they act it so well and it raises things up. And then they have cinematography and a beautiful, beautiful location that increases everything. It increases everything. Every part of it is better because it's so visually appealing. Um, and Lauren, you should watch the first 15 minutes or 10, 15 minutes of this show because it is freaking awesome. The beginning of this movie is like, I don't get scared of heights, but I was like, damn. And the part where there's a death, the part with the death is bone chilling and nightmare inducing. It is fantastic. I love the beginning of this movie. I love that Charlize Theron did most of her stunts. She's the one going down Whitewater River rafting. After I watched this movie, I was watching extreme whitewater river rafting on YouTube. I just got super into it. I have a coworker who does this kind of river rafting, and he's going to teach me how to do it and like flipping everything. I wouldn't have had that conversation except for this movie. Like it actually affected my real life and things that I'm going to do in the future this summer. It's
So you've never gone White River rafting?
I've gone whitewater river rafting, but he's doing it in the kayaks, and that's what she's
Ah,
taking. And I'm gonna go on one of those kayaks and go down
that
the river.
that
I'm
was
very
going to be
excited.
my next question. If it was going to be the kayak or like the big boat with people.
Yeah, I've
But
done the
yeah,
big boat. I've wanted to do the kayaks forever. I'm so pumped. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I think when Taron Egerton takes off his teeth, creepy as shit. Like that is great. And I liked that it was called to earlier in the script. It's one of the areas where I think the script shines because they plugged and played a lot of earlier mentions with later things that happened in the movie, which is just good writing, and they did a lot of that. I was very, very happy with it. Um, this movie isn't a perfect movie. It's not, but what could have been pretty generic was elevated by a lot of different aspects to a movie that I thought was quite good, to a movie that I would willingly watch again, and to a movie that, Lauren, I don't actually think you would hate. It's not necessarily my highest recommendation, but if you get a group of friends, this would be a fun group of friends movie to watch because there's nothing. The concepts of the movie are pretty demented, but there's nothing visually that you're seeing that is like too intense, in my opinion. And it makes it so it's a movie that you can watch with friends, with the groups. Josh obviously disagrees with me on this. I thought it was quite good, and I'm giving it an 8. Why don't you agree with me, Josh?
There's the whole scene in the cave.
But they don't. I mean, they like
It
show
drags
that
it out. She bites his ear off, and it's like a 5-minute scene.
the bite the ear off thing might be a little much for Lauren. I don't know. Would that be
like
too much for you?
Terrible body horror grossness, and everything in the cave leading up to it too.
It's just too much. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I thought the cave stuff. Yeah, that's fair. I thought also, like, along with how good the script at times was, the idea that all these people are missing and it's directly related to the story, I thought was really good writing. There were just a lot of good little things in this movie. I'm glad you suggested it. It was really good.
There are a lot of really good things. Basically, the beginning of the movie, all the way up till he catches her the first time, is brilliant.
Yes, I agree.
And then he goes through this phase of like torturing her and having fun with her and attempting to rape her and XYZ, whatever. And it's genuinely just bad writing, garbage movie, whatever. And then we get to the scene where he's incapacitated. And then from there to the end of the movie, we're back to a brilliant movie. I thought that middle section is a big turnoff for this movie.
Interesting. I thought the part where they are on the beach was the lowest part of the movie.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
Okay, that's part.
From then, like when they start to climb,
okay.
It becomes really good again. But basically, it turns into like, well, why did he hunt her?
Why did he? Why did he hunt her?
Why all of these things?
How in the world is he catching her?
Yeah.
Like, you're in the middle of the jungle and she's not leaving a track, and she literally just climbed up a rock wall. How the heck did
she
you catch her?
She climbs up and down that rock wall like 6 times.
Yeah.
You know, all of that like tension and stuff starts to feel like, okay, why did this even matter if he's just gonna do this? And so that's what I thought would be the big issue. And like, I also recommended this movie to my brother, and he said the same thing. He was like, the beginning was really good, but then I was just like completely unsure about the rest of this movie. Because he's right, like, writing wise, stylistically, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense on why these events transpire the way that they do. As for Taron Egerton, I'm still not sure that Blackbird is his best performance, simply because I view that as an easier thing to perform than the crazy guy in the woods thing. Because like the moment you see him when he's a quote unquote normal guy at the gas station, you go, something's off about this guy. And I don't quite know why. And that is just brilliant performance, you know, to see on screen. To be like, I have a feeling about this guy without there being anything said or particularly done. It's not like he's standing there like super obvious overacting, like staring at her or whatever. It's just, there's something off about this guy. And so I'm still not sure. They're both brilliant performances for sure. But that's the argument I have with it.
I literally was watching it with my wife, and I was like, Taron Egerton is just so underrated. He's so underrated. Like, he plays a psychopath. He plays a drug dealer in jail. He plays a spy. He plays a half retarded guy who decides to ski down a mountain and fly. He plays a gay singer, and they are all fantastic performances. It's just
And he
he's so
voice
good.
acts and sings better a
Yeah,
John Legend song than John Legend even sings
yeah,
in his sing.
yeah. He's part of the. He's probably the biggest reason I like that movie.
Yeah.
His voice is fantastic. Fantastic. He's great, and he should get more credit. Anyway, I'm really glad that Josh decided to recommend this. I thought it was a very good time. I just had a good time with this movie.
All right, let's go to Josh's topics, and then it seems like yours are linked, so I'll help you do both of your topics.
Okay, so I have watched. I alluded that I was going to be watching some horror last week. I did watch some horror. I watched two horror movies. I'm going to give my very brief two sentence about it. Um, about each of these movies, give my ratings for those movies, and then I want to have a bigger conversation about horror in general. So the first movie I watched was recommended to me by a friend. We were just on voice chat on Discord, and I was like, "Hey man, what's your favorite horror movie?" And he was like, "Weapons, I guess. It's the one that comes to mind." So I went and watched it. And the start of this movie is very, very strong. I really like the premise. I really like the way this town is behaving around these effects. Basically, all of these kids from this one specific class disappear except one kid. And everybody blames the teacher. Some people blame the kid. And they have this dual storytelling from the point of view of the teacher and then one of the dads and like all of these things, and we start to like break down into this horror thing that is happening. And so like that beginning part is like super compelling. I love a mystery. I love being drawn in. Great job, no notes. The ending of this movie is just super weak and I feel like falls on his face, and I feel like it's just a cop out. And the cop out is like, well, there's a witch. The end. And you're like, okay, fine, I guess. And so I really didn't love that. The way that they tell this story, it's through time jump perspective. So you see the teacher's point of view, then we go back in time and we see what led up to the teacher's point of view with the dad's point of view, and then we jump back in time and we see the principal's point of view. And like I thought that was incredible. Um, but yeah, I really like all the characters. That's all I really have to say about Weapons itself. Um, Pretty good movie, really compelling premise, kind of sucks at the end. A running theme with the horror genre, if you ask me. Then, one of the greatest horror movies of all time, according to like most people, it is Hereditary. And I gotta say, I don't get it. I feel like this is exactly the same as Weapons. It's got a pretty good start. It's got a pretty interesting premise. They do some really compelling horror things along the way, and the ending is just a cop out and not interesting to me, and I think kind of ruins the rest of the film.
Do you even understand the ending? I don't.
Yes.
I hate this movie. I truly hate this
Yeah.
movie.
I understood, I'd say like 60% of the ending. I did have to look up a
Okay.
video to be like, explain this whole thing. And there was a whole bunch of like, ooh, this symbol shows up like 20 times because it's on her necklace. And I'm like, I never noticed that one time. And you see this symbol in this book on this one sideways screen that they show for half a second. And on that page of the book, if you pause the movie, you can read all about this symbol. And I'm like, okay, well, I didn't do that because that's not how you watch movies. Um, so, like, there's some really good stuff in the beginning. There's less good stuff, but still some good stuff in the middle. And the ending, I think, just absolutely sucks. So I'm gonna give Weapons like a 7.5. I think it's worth a watch. Uh, but the ending is just like, man, if only they had like followed through. Only they had just done that thing. That would be so
Yeah.
awesome.
And the whole stick, like, I gave it a 7.5 too, and I was like, I kind of recommend this to Josh, but not really, is what I said when I reviewed it. The whole stick breaking and then the children rip apart the witch thing is,
Just a bad choice.
yeah,
It's
it was
just a
just a bad
terrible
choice.
choice. Yeah. Um, Hereditary, I'm gonna give it a 4 because I do think that there is enough good in there to recognize that there is good in there. The scenes with the mom in like the rafters and like standing in the hallway are bone chilling. I have to give it some credit for that. But this led me to a thought process of like, what is good horror? Because Hereditary is accepted as one of the greatest horror movies of all time. And it's one that Conlon and I both are like, I don't really understand the ending. Conlon is a big horror fan, so this should be right up his alley. What didn't work? Why didn't it work? All these kinds of things. So I reached out to both my co hosts and like 20 other people. And I sent
Wow.
the same questions in the exact same. I just copied and pasted it. Do you like horror? If so, what's your favorite horror film? What makes good horror or what makes bad horror is essentially the questions I asked. And 2 people said, I don't like horror because something along the lines of it means to disgust or gross out. Um, some people said, I like horror because um, it makes me think of something along Conlon's lines where it's like it explores these deep emotional things in like the worst possible way. Uh, I've heard things that make it good are making it realistic, and they talk about like true crime and that kind of stuff. And I've heard realistic in terms of being like possessions and demons, and I've heard I like it when it's not realistic. Basically, I've heard everybody say the exact opposite thing as somebody else.
That's
Conlon's like
interesting.
super deep emotion, and so literally somebody else said, I like that it's simple and you can just enjoy it and that kind of stuff. And they both had mentioned the same top horror movie with different things about it. So, like,
The Descent for both of us?
yeah. So it's like,
Wow.
what is horror? And so I went and even deeper and I started doing like research. Um, there's a person named Anne Radcliffe in 1862 who broke down what horror means, and she essentially broke it down into 2 different things: terror and horror, and she expands those definitions as to mean terror expands the soul, awakens the faculties to a high degree, and in meaning of like anticipation, dread, and fear of the unknown. And horror contracts, freezes, and nearly annihilates them with like realizing of a threat or the awful certainty of something. Stephen King, he breaks down horror into 3 parts. He says the terror, which he defines as dread and suspense, the horror, the monstrous realization, and the gross out disgust and revolution. Uh, Speaking out, saying specifically, like, if he has to descend down to that 3rd level of gross out, he is ashamed of his own writing. Um, Horror itself, it comes from a Latin base that literally means to stand on end, referring to like your hair standing up or having goosebumps. So I had this like whole fascinating like researching etymology of language and like what does it horror even mean, because I heard gross out, and it's not gross out, it's something higher than that. I've heard it's not so predictable and there's some funny moments, and I heard like super serious and delving into these ideas. Hereditary is the movie that made me most think about this because, along with Conlon, I kind of believe that it is these dark thoughts or emotions, that we explore. And Hereditary does that. It does it extremely effectively. I think if you are of the thinking that horror is about exploring the dark side of grief, for example, Hereditary is the best movie there is because it does that. However, I think Hereditary weaponizes it against the viewer. I don't think it explores it. I felt like it was saying, how dare you feel grief? Or how dare you not feel enough grief?
That's interesting.
And I was like, this movie is effective. It is very effective at what it's trying to make me feel and do. And I totally understand why it is a top horror film, but I hated it. So I don't have any
That
kind of
I
like conclusion. I just found all this kind of stuff fascinating and want to kind of just discuss it with you guys.
that's super interesting. Josh, that's probably my favorite definition or review you've given on a podcast because I've looked for why I hate Hereditary so much for such a long time because it breaks my rule. And I know it breaks my rule. I know that it is a well constructed movie. But when I watched Hereditary, it was the only thing that has ever just made me feel sick. I literally felt gross after watching it. I felt like I needed to take a shower and I couldn't wash away like my soul. And I genuinely, truly wish I wouldn't have watched the movie. I would give it like a negative score. It's on my most hated movies of all time. It probably should be higher because I genuinely felt sick. And it crossed a line. I was thinking about this when you asked me what makes a horror movie bad. And my first thought was Hereditary because like I hate Hereditary. I truly hate this movie. Um but it breaks the rules of all the other movies that I don't like. Because most of the other horror movies that I don't like, it's like the ending is particularly bad, or the acting is just not good, or there I have no characters that I'm interested in at all, or they're just so stupid. Like I can handle some stupid in my horror movies. I like some B-rate horror movies where they make some dumb mistakes. But like there's a movie called Hell House that I was thinking of that if you get into Reddit charts with people who are really big horror fans, it will be in the top listings. People love this movie. I don't understand it at all because I just think it's dumb. They're basically in a haunted house. They're setting it up for Halloween, and all the puppets start coming alive. And it is a creepy movie. But they see puppets coming alive, they watch it happening, and they go back in the haunted house. And I'm like, what are you people doing? You don't need to stay over there overnight. Even if you're setting up this haunted house, you don't have to be there. Get out and stop being a moron. And it's just a stupid movie. But Hereditary it breaks all those rules because I don't think there's anything particularly dumb. I do think the demonic stuff at the end is confusing and not extremely well written, but it is effective. And I think the way that you put it was incredibly good. I've listened to many reviews trying to process through why I hate that movie so much, and I think you just gave the best review that I've heard.
Oh, like I said, I was really digging into like what makes good horror, and my conclusion is that's different for everybody. It is the only genre I can say that the definition itself means different things to different people. The enjoyment of it, like, it is astounding to me that Hereditary is widely accepted as the best horror when it has such varying definitions and perspective on what makes good horror. And yeah, my sample size is 20 people, and 6 of them are family members, and we had similar upbringings, and the rest of them are all located in Utah. who had similar upbringings and had different things. So, like, don't take anything I say as like fact, but like, to me, what makes good horror is the original definition. Uh, to stand on end, to have that anticipation. One of my favorite horror movies of all time is Woman in Black. And why is it one of my favorite horror movies? It builds the anticipation without making you expect when the jump scares are going to happen. That to me is what makes good horror. And so Hereditary does that. But I feel like it weaponized the fact that I don't feel grief like I should, or didn't feel grief, or whatever. But I have to acknowledge, wow, it is so effective. And that's probably why it's so accepted, is because at the end of the day, literally everybody says, well, it's effective at what it's trying to do. And it's not appalling at the end. I do feel like it's a little bit of a cop out, like a lot of horror films do at the end. But that's just that. It's effective. Lauren, do you have any more thoughts on this kind of conversation? I'm very curious.
On horror?
Yeah, just what we've been talking about.
Not really. I think I've said everything about horror over and over and over again. So
Okay. Um,
Is there any horror that you do enjoy, Lauren?
no,
Literally none.
none.
Okay. Besides, like, Alvin and the Chipmunks, spooky.
I I just get so annoyed when people ask me that question because I'm like, I don't like horror, and then people always try to find like try to get me to watch some type of horror, and I hate it every single freaking time. And it's just it annoys me that people don't listen to what I say.
Do you get into the true crime stuff at all, or is that also just like, no?
I like because I don't watch it. I'll listen to podcasts about it. Um, but I think that's different because it's not demonic. It's not like that's actual real things, and it's more informative.
Okay. But a serial killer type show would still be like I'm just not into that.
No, I've tried watching them, and I hate it because they glorify the serial killer and not the victims.
are you
Gotcha.
okay with if I share what you responded to my question?
Sure.
So Lauren was one of the people who say horror is meant to disgust, and she differentiates, and I think very interestingly, that she likes thriller, but not horror. And when I did my etymology research, uh, both my horror experts from the past and Stephen King and Anne Radcliffe separated. Horror is this, terror is this. So I
Hmm.
think that Lauren likes the terror side, but not the horror side of things. So there's just
Interesting.
like this hyper specific area that Lauren does like, but in general, horror wouldn't be her forte.
Because like, and that's why I don't say like how I like The Village. Um, I liked watching The Sixth Sense once, but I can't watch it again because it freaks me out. Like I can, if somebody like if I read The Sixth Sense, I'd probably read it again, but I couldn't watch it again because of like the ghosts freak me out too bad. And then I
What is
like Signs, and it's all the same director. And I haven't seen his weird beach one, and I was told
And
not
Night
to.
Shyamalan.
Yeah, I call him Shamalama Ding Dong, but I can't ever remember his real name. Um, so, but I think that those are more thriller than horror.
Go ahead.
with The Sixth Sense, why could you read it versus watching it? Is it something about it being visually on the screen that's upsetting to you?
Yeah, because like they're the what's that called? The visuals of the ghosts, like they're dead and they're mangled and stuff, and that always freaked me out. And then also when there's like it just bothers me that like the boy is alone a lot of the time and that like the mom doesn't listen to him. um the thing that I liked about that movie was the twist, because that one was one that it wasn't ruined for me when he found out that he was dead, and that like the boy saw him as a ghost and that's why he was like freaked out. So it was interesting to watch it. I've watched it twice. um and I can say like that's one that um I think is very interesting in that way, and it was great storytelling because if you do go back, like once you clock all the signs, you can realize that he's a ghost early on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like if you're not paying attention, it like blindsides you, which it did me. And so like for that, it's the exception, but it still scares me because it's dealing with like paranormal and it deals with it very well and it freaks me out.
Do you think that you could read? Have you ever tried reading a Stephen King or Ray Bradbury or anything like that?
Ray Bradbury, but
Okay. Have
um
you read any of his horror novels or just like, I think he writes Catch 22, if I'm right?
the Illustrated Man.
Okay.
I believe
And
it's a collection of small stories.
do you think that you could read a horror novel or a novel about chasing down a serial killer or something along those lines? Or would that still be too intense for you?
Um, I'm in a part of my life where I know what makes me happy, and that
Hmm.
stuff just makes me uneasy. And so, why?
Why do it? What if there was a Harry Potter fanfic that was more darkly written with Death Eaters? Like you could make a fanfic that was a pretty horrific fanfic with Death Eaters. I actually would love that. Genuinely, I think that would be really cool.
You mean alchemized?
Is Alchemized more
It's
dark
dark.
that way? Okay, cool. And what was it about that one that worked for you if it has more of a horrific element to it?
Um, it deals more with like the dark side of war,
Okay.
and it doesn't sugarcoat things. And it like the more I read about it, like the more every time I've read it, I've noticed a different thing that she like put into the book. Like the last time I read it, I realized like her struggle with basically religion in it. um and then like another time I read it, it was I realized like all these little things of all these different characters. It's just very well written. Would I call it a horror? I do skip one chapter because like it talks about like these executions and tortures and stuff that's just horrific. And so I skipped that. But yeah.
Interesting. That's cool.
All right. So let's go to your next topic. The it just says
From
oh from I was like, it just says from episode 3. I don't know what that means.
the
But
show
from the
from
TV.
episode 3, yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go.
So, my whole thing that I wrote down is get to the answers, people, because this episode felt kind of like I think I get why Josh was being more hesitant on this show after this episode because it's kind of like nothing really happens and it doesn't answer anything. It doesn't really go anywhere. It's a lot of people panicking about things for an entire episode. I don't have a ton to say, but it wasn't that great. Um and they go into the house and it's all like supposed to be, oh no, is it gonna fall on him? I just didn't care. I also don't care about that character that much. So if the house did fall on him, I'd kind of be like, okay, I guess. The only reason I like you at all is because you're nice to our main girl. But if you died, I wouldn't care. Um, I hope we get some answers. I hope something happens because they need to answer some stuff in this season. They can't just keep pushing it along. Was that kind of your thoughts on this one too, Josh?
Slightly different. I actively don't like Randall.
Oh, okay.
But I think that that's just I interpret things differently. I don't think he's
Okay.
being nice to the underage minor. I think he
You
is.
think he's a creep?
Yep.
Oh, is she still an underage minor?
Yes,
I guess.
she's 16.
Oh,
He is
that's
like
creepy.
28, 30 something.
That's creepy.
Yeah. And like
I don't know.
there's
I could see
nothing
it.
that objectively says he is that. That is just my interpretation. She's the only person he's nice to. He looks longingly at her, and when the mom confronts her and says, "If you do anything, I'll kill you," he's like, "How dare you think that?" And then looks longingly at the girl again. So like 100% fully acknowledge could just be my interpretation and me thinking the worst in somebody, but like he's proven he's not a good person. He's highly erratic. He's super like emotionally driven. And now he's stuck in this situation where he's isolated and a pretty girl is being nice to him.
I
So
could see it. I
this is
don't
the
know,
last
but
season.
No, there's going to be one more.
Oh, okay.
I really hope that they don't hold all the answers until the last 2 episodes or something. Just give some answers.
Okay.
Answers are good.
So we had this discussion before. Has your answer changed? What would be the marker of season 4 being good? My answer hasn't changed.
I want more answers. This episode made me want more answers. When the kid shows up that's older, the one that's in the white, I actually don't know which character that is. I was like, you're being mysterious with your speech again. Can't you just say something real? Like, why do you have to talk in riddles all the time? Just say something. And I actually got a little bit annoyed. I was like, give something. Stop being so freaking cryptic. And it felt like when Josh has talked about being frustrated, like he talked about with Kyle XY, being frustrated because there's a character who has the answers right there, but he won't give the answers. That's what it felt like to me, and it's never felt that way before. But in this one, I was just like, you know something, just say it, just talk. And I don't know. I'm hoping that it gets. I'm hoping for some answers of some kind. I'm hoping for some movement. There's also the guy who is taking the form of the girl. She pulls the tooth, which was supposed to just be creepy, but kind of felt like it was just creepy to be creepy instead of having a point. And whatever it is, goes and lives with the girl who went crazy and is causing her to go crazy again. And I was kind of like, I thought this was all done. I don't really like that either. There were a couple things in this episode I didn't love, to be honest.
What would be your rating of this third episode?
Probably like a 4.5. It's not awful, but I was a little negative on it, to be honest. Hopefully it turns around. Anyway, from season 4, episode 3. I hope it picks back up.
All right. So with that, you both have said all of your things, right? Okay. Let's go to our shared topic. Emma, 2020. I believe this was a Conlin pick. So we'll have you talk first. And from what we were talking about at the beginning when we weren't recording, I feel like we're gonna have a thumbs
Yes,
down.
we are. I want to apologize to my co-host. I don't know what they think about it yet, but I'm sorry I made us watch this movie. Holy hell. I mean this, I literally have watched paint dry and had more fun than I had with this movie. This was so long. This was excruciating. I like Anya Taylor Joy. I wanted to watch this because of Anya Taylor Joy. I can't remember the sister's name. Um,
The
Anya Taylor
Harriet or
Joy.
whatever.
Yeah. Do you know the actress name?
No.
Okay. I she's in a weirdly a couple horror movies. She's in a series of three. First one is X, and I don't like X, but I love the other two movies. She's great in them, like legitimately fantastic. She acts it really, really well. She's part of the reason why I like those movies so much. So I was also excited to see her. And then I watched this dull, awful, boring, complete waste of time that I am so sorry I made you guys watch because it just wasn't good. My favorite part of this movie, her name is Mia Goth. My favorite part of this movie is the part where she invites the rival girl to play piano and she's singing and she's like, oh. And then the rival girl gets on and she's like, and it's actually very funny. Like it was a witty, funny moment. I enjoyed that part. That's it. That's all I enjoyed from this movie. Actually, that's not true. I'm gonna be completely fair with this movie. The costume design is great. They did a great job with the costume design. It's a very pretty movie. Everyone acts it pretty well, but the script is dull. I just don't think I am a fan of this type of material. I've tried it.
Yeah, I
I've
don't
tried to
think
get
you
into
like
it.
Regency dialogue.
I don't think I do. I just think it's not for me. I've tried what's the TV show that's really, really big that everyone
Bridgerton
no.
or
The really
Downton
wholesome
Abbey?
one? Downton Abbey. I've tried Downton Abbey, also just like I find it so unbearingly dull. Um I can't do it. I can't do it. I don't blame people who like this movie. You just are different than me. And I am done with all of this kind of stuff. I don't want to go to it again. I find it bizarre that I like the first season of Artful Dodger as much as I do because it's kind it's a different time period. It's different. Um, but I love the first season of Artful Dodger.
I
It's
think it's
kind
because of the dialogue. They don't really talk all ritzy and stuff.
of
I
yeah,
think
that's
that's what
probably
bores
what it
you.
is. Probably yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I just ugh. This movie was ugh. I am gonna give it a 2 because I can recognize some of the good in it. If you like it, awesome. But I can't do it.
Okay, Josh, what did you think?
Mine's going to be really, really quick. I tried watching this 4 times. I fell asleep 4 times. I got maybe 15 minutes in each time. This is boring as hell. I don't like Regency dialogue. I could have said that from before this happened. I find it exhausting, obnoxious, pompous, douchey, ridiculous garbage. Uh, I have one other note, and that is I was scrolling through TikTok, and right before I hopped on, and somebody literally brought up this movie and about how it's when you obsess with morality rather than just being a moral person. And I think that that is an interesting concept. It's too bad that this is boring as hell. I am not going to rate it because 15 minutes isn't enough to rate it on.
Cool, cool.
Okay. I hope you love this, Lauren. What you think?
Well, I liked it better than both of you, but I loved the music, actually. I really liked the music in this. Um, I hated Emma, the character. She was a
Okay.
biatch. She
That's fair.
was. I didn't root for anybody but the Henrietta because or Harriet. Anyway,
Harriet.
Harriet. Um, because basically this whole movie, like Emma is like, I'm above all of you because of da 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 da, and the whole time she's just ruining everybody's lives. And then when people like bring it up, and she's like, oh, I feel so bad I did that. And I'm like, then stop. Because like
You just
every
acted that so good. That was great. You even did like the lead in thing. That was great.
Because like everybody that like oh I liked Harriet, and she deserved like she was just this nice sweet girl who was kind of like lowly in station, and so the people kept being like Emma kept trying to put her with other people because she's like, oh, she's so much better than all of you. She deserves this, this, and this, and kept sabotaging all of her relationships she could have, and like kept putting things into her head and like just sabotaging her life left and right and saying it was like out of the goodness of her heart. And then like whoever she liked, the sister Harriet liked, all of a sudden Emma would be like, I'm gonna date them. And I'm like, I hate you so much. Like, just go sit in that ditch over there. And then, like, I hated it because it was very much like girls against girls in this movie. Like, yes, it was kind of funny that she had that like rivalry with the other person. She's like, everybody thinks we should be friends because we're the same age, but I hate her. And then because she was well accomplished and people were like praising her, and then Emma tried to make her look awful, and she succeeded in it. And then the girl comes and confides in her, and she's like, it's really hard to like try to seem accomplished when I'm really just so tired of everything. And then she's like, oh, well, now I feel bad that I ruined your life, so everybody should feel bad for me. And I'm like, no one cares about you, Emma. And I hated, like, there's a part where her love interest or whatever, he's, of course, this, like, pompous person that you're trying to get another Mr. Darcy out of, and he like is nice to Harriet, and so she sees him being nice to Harriet, and this whole time he's kind of been sweet on Emma, and then he's finally nice to Harriet, and so she's like, I guess we're gonna get together now. Like, go back to that ditch. So anyway, I hated this for other reasons. I could not. Like, and then there was like the weird scene where she gets like the nosebleed, and I'm like, why are you going cross-eyed? Like, why is your nose bleeding? Because he like proposed to her, and I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. Why is your nose bleeding? This is weird. Um, yeah. Good music though. I like the music. I would give this a 4. Because like I think this is the first of this type of movie that I actually paid attention to actually get what was actually going on in the movie. So I'll give it a 4. I like the music. I did really like the dresses and everything. That was really good. Um, there just weren't many characters to root for. They all could go into a ditch and I would be happy. Oh, there was also this picnic where she was just a raging a-hole, and like she was rude to this older lady, and even like the main guy was like, you were like way too harsh. And then she had like a Twilight moment where she like cried in a window for forever, feeling sorry for herself, and then walking down this path, and she's like, oh, I was awful. And the guy's like, yeah, you were, marry me. And I'm like, no. Everybody go get therapy. Everyone go sit in a separate corner. Harriet, you're doing awesome, sweetie. Just go find somebody who cares about you. Anyway, that yeah, 4.
4
I actually didn't mind watching this though, but I was super mad.
You got like I can tell you got super into it. You're like raging a little bit, which makes me happy. I'm happy we actually decided to watch this dull, awful show. Because Laura
Yeah,
got to be like, I hate Emma
I
or
do.
everyone.
I'm like that's the girl that I hope girls don't be. Like, be a girl's girl. Like, try to support others, not in the way of like trying to be like righteous and better than thou or whatever, but like actually just supporting each other and not trying to like underhand each other. And that's what it felt like Emma was this entire movie. And so that's why I got so heated.
So like cat fighting and that kind of a thing is a thing that happens. I've noticed it a lot. When do you when do you like it in a story?
I don't
What
like
makes
it.
it good? Like on a story. Okay.
Like if there's like a rival in between two characters and it's not about a boy, it's about like uh Emma kind of was that way with the one girl, but it's more of like I don't know, like you can have girls that are rivals and not have them be underhanded to each other. It's when they try to drag each other down, I don't like it. You can be rivals and push each other. I like that. But it's when they're like trying to put each other down to make themselves
Okay.
look better. I hate that. I hate that
You hate that.
message. I hate that portrayal in anything. I hate it.
Even though it's fairly realistic sometimes.
That's why I hate it, is because
Okay.
I feel like sometimes people think that, because like whether you think that life imitates art or art imitates life, like people will see that and then sometimes they'll feel validated in like, oh yeah, well I don't like this person, and they see it on screen, they're like, oh see, because it's fine because that person does it, even though it's just a portrayal of something on screen. It's something that like younger audiences sometimes will solidify or validate something that I don't think should be validated, whether that was the producer's intent or the director's intent. Like, I just don't think it should be portrayed because people should lift each other up.
I like that. That
Yeah.
makes sense. And yeah, more world would be a little bit better place if people would just do that.
Yeah, I wish. So with that, everybody go. If you've seen Emma, tell us if you were bored, enraged, or loved it. Next week we will be watching Spider Noir episode 1. I believe it is on Prime, so if you have that, go and watch that, and we'll talk about that next week. Have a good week, everybody.